always room for improvement. It doesn't matter at what level of the game I am watching umpires, there will be, and this might even be an Olympic gold medal game, there will be one occasion at least in that game where an umpire could have allowed advantage, but she stepped in too soon. It's always going to happen, always going to happen. I go back once again to say, umpires are not perfect. There will always be somebody that makes a mistake, regardless of the level of the game that she's at. So advantage is something, once again, that we always try to play. And nearly every umpire here will know when she's missed the opportunity to play an advantage, you know. And I watch their body language, you know, it's, you know. Or when they're wired up, I might hear some fairly blunt language. A good umpire will recognise when she should have played advantage, but unfortunately, there's nothing you can do about it. You can't come back and say, let's restart that and I'm going to play advantage again. That's it. You just missed an advantage. That's it. You've got to live with it, and it's something that you learn from. This second one there, game player management. This is something, once again, that every single umpire, regardless of whether she's just starting to umpire. I go out to Racy Park on a Saturday morning to watch I think it's J7s or something. All right, so whether you're umpiring J7s or whether you're umpiring a Division 1 game, and at the State Hockey Centre, the way that you manage the players is absolutely crucial. And there are times when we don't manage the players as well as we're capable of doing. Every umpire's got a set of cards, so she's got the capacity to settle down every situation, but she's also got the capacity to go overboard. And that was happening particularly in Division 1 last year. Some umpires were becoming too interventionist, stepping into the game too much and using inappropriate management tools. Thanks, Amy. When I'm in the tech area at the State Hockey Centre, I left the chair where I sit in front of the tech bench and walked inside to fill up my water bottle. When I came back out, every single chair had a player sitting in it. Not a word of a lie, every single chair. And I said, what have you done? What have you done? I don't know. You can go overboard. There are better ways of managing. And when the umpires that are going overboard are capable of managing players a lot better, I will talk to them in depth. And we went through a stage where things had really, really improved last season. And then, fortunately, right at the end of the season, there was a lapse, and we went back into what had been done before. So I'll be talking about this a little bit further on. This is what advantage is. It's all about anticipation, combined with an umpire's ability to read the game. What's going to happen? You've got to have a good knowledge of the game. Right? I was a decent player. All right, and a decent coach. And what I learned as a player and as a coach really helped me as an umpire. I know that Noreen here is a player, a coach, and an umpire. And we've got other people in similar instances here, including Rolo. This ability to understand what the players are doing, what the coaches are trying to encourage them to do, what the pressure's like. Right? Pressure is, it's there every game. What's the pressure like in a grand final? What's the pressure like in an Olympic gold medal game? Pressure's immense. And players react differently to pressure. Right? Some go to, their legs literally go to rubber. Others become so psyched up that they're ready to decapitate an opponent. Right? Winning is all that matters, and they're quite prepared. I literally mean that. Some people are quite prepared to do anything they can to win that particular game. So people react differently to stress. Well, good umpires will recognise that. and they'll step in and do something about it before it does come to a decapitation issue. Read the game. What's going to happen? A concept that I started working on with umpires at the highest level to get them to read the game was to try to get 2, 3, 4 steps ahead. And I used to take different players and concentrate particularly on Luciana Aymar, who won the World Player of the Year award for about 4 or 5 years running. She was Argentinian. She was a brilliant player. And I used to get umpires to watch her. And the ball would be over there where Amy was. And Luciana is moving around all the time, looking for space, making sharp little bursts all the time, because she is 2, 3, 4 moves ahead. She doesn't want that ball from Amy now. She wants it over here, where she's in open space. And she's got to create that space, and she's got to create the movement to get into that space. So what I used to push to umpires was, if that's what the best players are doing, then the best umpires have to do it as well. You're watching the ball over there. It's maybe 50 metres away, 40 metres away. The other umpire is closer to the situation than you are. So you should be thinking about that, where that ball is going. And not where it's going just at the moment that it's on that player's stick, but where is it likely to be in 2, 3 moves' time. Read the play. Read the game. Understand the game. Understand what the players are doing. Understand what the players are trying to do. How can you help them? Right? That's what this is all about. I've said on numerous occasions to umpires that the best way to get the respect of the players is to try to make sure that you make fewer mistakes than they do. Ideally, your decision making is going to be spot on all the way through. There's always going to be a time when someone just steps in front of you and you can't see the ball for a fraction of a second. And when that player steps across you, somebody hits somebody's foot, it's played by the back of the stick, but you can't see it. But that's just the way the game is. It's fast, it's hard, and players are moving. So it's just bad luck. Someone steps in front and you can't see the ball. And at the moment you can't see the ball, something happens. But we're trying to position ourselves all the time so that we can see the ball. And the more frequently you make the correct decision, the more respect you're going to get from the players, and the easier it is for you to umpire the game. And most importantly, the more enjoyable it's going to be for you to umpire the game. Nobody wants to be out on the field there with 22 players continually objecting and nagging away at you. It's only going to happen if you're continually making mistakes. So get the respect of the players. Accuracy. Go back to those management tools as I was referring to. Your voice and your body language are crucial, right? I'm using them all the time now with you, all right? That's how I'm communicating to you. Umpires have to do the same to players. You've got to let them know what your job is. You've got to let them know what you're going to do. You've got to be prepared to educate them. And that means talking to them, explaining why you're blowing your whistle. A lot of players will look at you with blank eyes when you blow the whistle. They won't have a clue. Neither will their coaches in a lot of cases. Right? So this education process isn't just for the people out there, it's for the people here as well. So communicate. Communicate with your other umpire. That's really crucial. It's always important to recognise that the two umpires are the third team out there. You're never on your own. I always feel really sorry for young umpires in particular that are nominated by their clubs to come out and do a Div 2 game in particular. All right, we've got some good Div 2 teams. We've got some good Div 3 teams as well. But the way the system works, because they are umpires at that level and nominated by their clubs, they're frequently not as well educated as they should be into what their function is out there as umpires. And you can tell even before they go out. If it's a total stranger, I will talk to them. I'll say, I haven't seen you out here before. How many games have you umpired? A player last year was put on a Division 2 game. She was as a Division 1 player. I said, I haven't seen you umpire before. How many games have you done? None. There's something wrong with the system when something like that happens. So the message I had to get to her was, you're not alone out there. You've got a partner over there who is more experienced than you. Use her. Don't hesitate to stop the game if you need to have a chat about something. You're not on your own out there, all right? And that's the key element you have to keep pushing to these inexperienced young umpires. You're not alone. There's somebody over there. But giving the appropriate penalties is as important as anything else in the game. And this is what I was referring to before, about some umpires going really overboard with their cards. I never want to go back to a situation that I had once as a coach, where I had to tell players, don't even look at that umpire. And Rolo probably remembers the instance that I'm talking about. Because we were playing for a game where the winners were going to be minor premiers, and the semi-finals were going to start the next week, and I was terrified that this one particular umpire was going to start dishing out red cards, and we were going to have people missing from the semis. That's what I mean about appropriate penalties. You've got to understand that as umpires, you've got an enormous amount of power. You know, you can destroy a team, you can destroy a player if you start dishing out wrong cards too frequently, at the wrong time, and in the wrong place. And in the wrong place means if I'm watching you. Since that particular evening that I've just mentioned, I've never seen that happen again. And I think that's because we finally got the message through to that level of umpire that that kind of behaviour is not appropriate. Players and coaches should never be terrified of umpires and the way the umpires are going to react to them. And as umpires, you should never let that kind of situation develop, because it's up to you to step in beforehand and communicate and let the players know what you find unacceptable, and let them know what the consequences are going to be if they persist. I hate it as we get towards the end of the season and I suddenly find out that why is that club over there? Where's Jane Smith? Where's Frida Thomas or whatever? Oh, she's suspended. Because over the season, it's a long season, they've accumulated this, to my mind, what's a minuscule number of yellow cards, and then they have to miss semi-finals. Crazy. You know, something like an Olympic Games or a World Cup. In a World Cup where they do play more games, the yellow cards get wiped out. And there's nothing like automatic suspensions. Right? The tournament director looks at why a player got a yellow card. Not all yellow cards are the same. You know, some yellow cards are for nasty offences. Other yellow cards are for something fairly minuscule. There's a lot of Spanish-speaking teams in international hockey. They use a common phrase, a common term. They call opponents, and sometimes they even call their teammates. I'm not going to say it because, as I said, we've got a couple of young kids over there, and we might well have, I don't know if anybody here can speak Spanish, but it begins with P and it ends with A. All right? And they call it each other all the time. And one umpire took offence. at the fact that this word was being thrown around all the time, so she gave a yellow card. In the same game, somebody came in and did a really, boom, life-threatening tackle. Another yellow card. So we got 2 yellow cards there. But they're totally different. One of them was a crazy one, and another one was just a misinterpretation by an umpire. She took offence at what was being said. So you reach a certain stage in the big tournaments, and these yellow cards, you're wiped. That's it. But we carry on all through the season, and you've got these card-happy umpires that dish out cards willy-nilly, and then we've got key players missing at the end of the season. And once again, I think that's something that needs looking at. Use the appropriate penalties. Every offence, every foul is not necessarily a card offence. You've got to use your common sense. You've got to read the game. You've got to assess what's happening out there. Understand the pressures, the stress that players are under. But don't treat every situation identically. And exactly the same way, every yellow card shouldn't be treated identically either. And that's something that, as I said, probably needs to be looked at.